Hi, everyone. This is Arena again from the Office of Admissions, and we're going to go ahead and talk to you about how to best complete your application. With that being said, we're not going to actually tell you how to write it. You still have to do all of the work, but we are going to give you some tips and also go over some of the most frequent mistakes that we see. Hati Unjian from the admissions office is here. As she mentioned, she does a lot of the tech reviews, or almost all of the tech reviews. Marina will be joining her this year and we'll understand these mistakes. But hopefully with this session, at the end of the session, you will know how to ensure that you can submit a strong and complete application. All right. So I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. Can you guys see yourselves?
Yes, we can.
You see yourselves, but you don't see the PowerPoint. That was very confusing for me. Okay, I have two screens. That's why that happened. Okay, can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, who has started their application already? I mean, just raise your hands if you can. That I think would be the easiest for me. Okay, so I see 8 people so far, 9, 13, 14, 16. So a good number of you have already started their application. Who is waiting for some sort of document or to take their exam before they start their application? So I'm seeing a few people raise their hands. That is not a good thing to do. You do not need to wait to take your exams. You should start your application ASAP, because there's a lot of very important information and instructions in the application that does not require you to have everything before you start it, okay? Remember, you can save your application and continue going back to it, and it will not come to us or we will not look at it until it is submitted on your end. So it could take a couple of weeks, it could take a month, it could take 2 months, but just make sure that you start working on it ASAP. So right here, this is the login page for our eam.aua.am system. This is the new user registration here in red. If you do not have an account, you want to make sure that you submit this new user registration. If you do have an account, you're obviously going to use your email and your password. You guys are sometimes very irresponsible with your passwords and you keep forgetting them. Please make sure you remember which email address you use to register for your application, and make sure that you keep that as well as your password somewhere safe. Okay. So we're going to use Armina Hovanesyan from my office, who's not here. She has created a fake application here. And as we can see, her official name is Armina Hovanesyan. But if you see here during the new user registration, she wants to add an H. So is it okay for you to spell your name a different way than as spelled as in your passport?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Perfect answer. You guys need to spell your name officially as it is in your documents, in your passport, okay? And then obviously the date of birth, I don't understand why this is so confusing. So right now, so Armina is born June 12th, 1989. Right, but she's actually listed here December 6th, 1989. As an American university, we follow month, day, and then year, as opposed to you guys that follow day, month. So make sure that you are looking at the little calendar. There's this tiny little button here that if you press it, it will help you select the correct month and day, okay? Where once you log in, you are able to access the undergraduate admission either by selecting this red arrow here, the undergraduate admission, or going to submit an application for admission to undergraduate study. Pretty explanatory, self-explanatory. If you have not yet started the application, then you'll see a button like this saying new application. Well, what is an instructions? What are those? Hati is laughing at me. There's a reason she's laughing. You guys, so instructions, someone translate that word. Hovanes. I for some reason, I'm picking on you today. So what is instructions in Armenian?
Kanunner.
Kanunner. Okay. Who's supposed to read those kanunner?
Applicants.
We.
Applicants, we.
Yes. So how do we react, or when I say we, I really mean Patila and Marina, how do they react when they get a question from you that is literally spelled out in 5 different parts of the application instructions? What do you think? What do you think the response is?
Negative.
Negative, angry. They hate us.
You guys are a lot more dramatic than I was expecting. We don't hate you, but we wonder about your ability to comprehend simple instructions. So you want to, again, make yourself, you want to show that you are competent and that you're able to follow these instructions, right? So it does set, what is the word that I'm looking for? It does create some sort of, and I forgot the word that I want to use.
Precedent?
Not a precedent, and we're guardseek. What is guardseek in English?
Impression?
Yes, it's one of your first impressions. So if your first impression with the Office of Admissions is, and I'll give you an example to make it clear. So for the English and Communications program in Politics and Governance, this year we said we're waiving the math exam, right? Because there's not enough space. So we've said it during a presentation. And then the same person says, okay, so does that mean I have to take the SAT or ACT? And we're like, well, you can, but we waived it. So you don't need to, because, you know, it's no longer mandatory. Same person asks us again. So I don't have to take the exam. Again, not the best first impression. So a lot of this information is in the application instructions as well as on our website. So please review that. Again, we are here to support you, but we're talking about impressions here. Patyajan, jump in every time you have something to add.
Yeah, definitely.
Deadlines, they're clear. If you submit your application, I want everyone to stare at Patyal's face when I say this. If the deadline is December 15th, which it means December 15th, 11:59:59 p.m., so 23:59:59, and you end up somehow, the system was slow, your internet connection went out, electricity, damn it, that 1 minute you needed it, it went out, and you ultimately end up submitting your application on December 16th at 12:04 a.m. What happens to you?
Our application would be, the second deadline application would be.
We're left for the regular deadline.
Yes, you are a regular applicant. Aram, your little reactions kill me. They keep me happy, so keep them coming, okay? So that's why we always tell you never wait until the last possible second to submit your application, all right? Try to submit it at least a day or two early. Now, keep in mind, once we do the tech review, if we notice that something is incomplete, we will give you then a couple of days to review and provide us with that information that is incomplete or those missing documents, okay?
Yeah, and guys, please respond to your emails. Sometimes, like, I send out an email and then I don't get a response. And if you missed the deadline and I'm forced to change your application from, let's say, early to regular, don't complain, because we're gonna give you a deadline, at least 5 days, no, at least 3 days to, you know, compensate any missing items. But please make sure you're attentive to your emails, because once you pass the deadline, your application will be moved.
And since many of you, who does not have a cell phone? Oh, of course, no one's going to raise their hand because everyone has one or two. Since you guys spend hours and hours, God, I don't even want to know how many hours you spend on the phone. If you haven't already done so, here's a little trick for you. Let me make sure. Okay, so what you do, you add your emails to your phone and then they automatically download, so you don't have to like go in onto a website, and then you check them instead of playing that game that you love, right? That way you can make sure to see those emails that are coming in. Okay, I'm talking way too long. Once we've reviewed the instructions, this little button on the bottom right, start my application, that's when you start your application, okay? The top bar here is sort of like the different sections of the application that you will need to complete. So once you enter a specific part, there are questions that you will need to answer in order to be able to move out of that particular section. Now, there are definitely some times when we have technical glitches. So if you're facing an issue with, with a system that's not letting you move forward, take a screenshot and email it to eam.ugrad@aua.am so that we can try to fix it ASAP. Again, technical issues do happen, which is why we're telling you start early. Don't wait until the last day. So personal information. The two mistakes that we see here. So this is, if we remember, this was the official information that Armina had. But again, because of the information that she put in new user registration, what happens here? So we have What are the two mistakes that you guys see here? So again, Armina's name is now spelled incorrectly because she made the mistake of in the new user registration process. And is Hagop a middle name?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No.
Hayanun, right? So we have both the spot for middle name and we have a father's name. 99.9% of Armenians from Armenia do not have a middle name, which means what do you do with it?
Ignore.
Just skip it.
Right, and you can see it's right? There's no little red button marking it as mandatory, so you just leave it blank.
There's
Okay?
no marking first name too.
Ooh, who said that?
can
Grigor,
see
you
it.
should not apply to AUA. You just caught us on a mistake. I'm just kidding. So that's amazing. Perfect. Right. That's a mistake on our end. That there should be a little red button there, or a little red asterisk because the first name and last name are mandatory.
Yeah.
I love Katimas people. You're like my favorite people in the world. Okay, citizenship. Again, ooh, I did not mean to do that. If you guys have more than one citizenship, I recommend you put Armenia first because that means you will get, the local application fee. If you are, the big mistake here is if you have a second citizenship, make sure to include it. Make sure you're putting in the passport number correctly. Some of you guys might not have passports. That's okay, in which case you're giving us a national ID. If it's pending, if it's an application in process, just let us know via email so we can advise further. Okay. And again, in addition to filling this information out here, you need to take photos of these documents and attach it to your application.
I have a recommendation.
Yes.
Especially for male applicants. Make sure you have a national ID because a lot of the times when applicants when applicants are at an age where they need to be going to the military and their passport has expired, we know that the passport is not, renewing those passports. So it's good to have a national ID just so that you won't face that issue. You won't have an issue with your passport because your national ID has a 10-year expiration date. So just apply with a national ID and, then we wouldn't have to notify you that your passport has expired and we cannot accept it. So that is a suggestion from my end. I think it would be good especially for male applicants who are going to be conscripted to the military.
I agree with Patil. So the passport they definitely give you the national ID, boys. So make sure you get the national ID and apply with your national ID.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, ladies. In terms of contact information, please be very careful about providing us with a correct cell phone number. In terms of your permanent home address, this is your Gransvatshasa, your registered address. So this is typically what goes in the passport if you guys have a passport. If you don't have a Gransvats address because you don't have a passport, it's probably going to be the registered address of your parents, okay? And you want to make sure you fill in your full address with the postal code and a home phone number. The home phone number is not your cell phone. It's also not mandatory. So if you don't have one, you can leave it blank. If a lot of people make this mistake, if you live in the same place as your permanent address, you're going to just press this little box right there.
Right.
Everything goes away. You don't have to fill it out. Okay. But if you physically live somewhere else other than what you listed in the registered address, then you need to put this information here as well. Okay.
And FYI, if you're only when you're 18 years old is your registered address written on your passport. If you're underage, you won't see that on your passport.
Which is why you should get it from your parents' passport. And then one quick addition about the mobile phone. So there's some of you guys have two phone numbers. If you have a second phone number, put it. If you don't, leave it blank. There is no need for you to put your mom or dad's cell phone. We get that a lot. So this is only if you have a second cell phone should you put it in there. All right. AUA study history. This is just asking you if you've applied to AUA or have studied at AUA previously. This part does not affect your status, your admission status in any way, shape, or form. Unless you're a previously dismissed student, but you guys, if that's you, you know about that. Emergency contact is probably one of the most important parts of this application for you, because if, for example, Hovannes, you're called for an interview and I can't reach you through your home phone or your cell phone, this person has to be able to get in touch with you. Okay. And a lot of times people put in friends. I definitely don't recommend you put in a friend. So it's usually a parent, maybe a brother, maybe a sister, but someone who's going to be able to locate you if we can't get in touch with you. All right.
All right.
And we have a lot of people who for whatever reason or another put themselves as emergency contact. You cannot be your own emergency contact. Please also make sure that the contact information you are providing is accurate for that person. Again, we had an applicant previously who, because they did not provide correct emergency contact information, was ultimately denied 1 year because she was not able to come in for an interview. She was moved to the next deadline. And by the time she went through that deadline, there was no space. So she ended up getting denial. Right? So that's why we say be very careful. Academic credentials. So this is for high schools, right? So you guys are applying for our undergraduate program. So you're giving us your grades your grades for classes 10, 11, and 12, unless you're in a Russian school, in which case we want the transcript for grades 10 and 11. You can download the form here. Or your school, if they have their own standard template, they're more than welcome to use it. It can be in Armenian, it can be in English. Otherwise, it should be notarized or Russian. Okay.
Sorry,
go ahead, Ina.
should I place my university scores in this case or the high school?
So Ina, if I remember correctly, you're applying after having done a 5-year diploma, right?
Yeah.
So no, you're putting your high school information here, and then in the next section, you'll put information about your first degree. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, this is something that a lot of people miss. I've gotten a lot of Facebook messages on our AUA admission saying, my school is not in the list. What do I do? And then this is me with my following impression, like that person clearly has not read the instruction, which says, after selecting country, enter your high school name in the requested field. If the system requires you to select your high school from a drop-down list and your school is not there, so if your school is not there, email im.ugrad@AUA with the following information, okay? Good?
If the list is completed, may I also provide the Govasana Gallery scans in the attachments part of the application?
Govanasagi is about like certificates, right, of accomplishment from your schools.
For the excellent studying of 10th and 11th classes.
Yeah, so we'll get there. Give me a few minutes to talk about that, okay? Then what do we have? So again, some of the major issues, we are asking you to provide a school contact person. So if there's an issue with your transcript, we have a question we want to follow up, that's the name of the person that you're providing, right? So it could be the person who's giving you the transcript. It could be the principal. It could be like one of the teachers who serves as an advisor. You guys get to decide, but make sure we're getting current information. And one of the major issues, we see a lot of people submitting only, 1 year of their high school. You have to show us when you entered high school and when you graduated high school, okay? And then you're giving us the type of high school. The majority of you are attending an Armenian high school, so it would be an attestat. Let's say you're at Shirakatsi and you're doing an international baccalaureate, then it could be an IB diploma. Same with Font if you're doing their IB program. So just write the actual diploma that you're getting. But for the majority of you in Armenia, it's going to be an attestat.
Sorry, I have one question regarding this. And I finished high school 15 years ago, and if I don't have contact person, I mean, I must find a principal whom I don't know, or
Just
you need the
principal
that. Oh, okay.
Contact the school. They will definitely be able to get it to you. And if there's an issue, first of all, you look like you're as young as everyone.
I thought you need the principal who gave me the attestat.
Contact the school. I mean, the schools,
Okay,
I think they keep records, but if you have any issues, just let us know. Okay. And that's another thing. If you guys have issues obtaining any of this documentation, you just need to let us know. All right. Now let me quickly jump in. I still have about 18 slides to go through, but the student meet and greet has already started, right, John?
I have informed the student councils and the student ambassadors that we might be running late.
Okay.
So I think we have another 9 minutes.
Okay, so let me try to run through in 9 minutes. Okay. Then in terms of here, you know, we talked about during the initial session, I'm not sure if you joined, we're looking at what you do outside of school, right? We're looking at, you know, whether you're doing academic programs. So here you could be, let's say you're a participant of the Flex program, you've done Erasmus, you've done DAAD, summer programs, camps, language courses. This is the information where you would indicate here. And again, very detailed instructions saying, please include a detailed description of up to 50 words describing your involvement. And what you gained from that experience. And that's a lot of it. You know, we have a lot of issues here because people will write, for example, I went on the Flex program, which is an amazing program that gives opportunities for Armenians to go study in the US, you know, for 2 semesters in high school. I don't want to necessarily know what the program is. I want to know your involvement. So I went to a high school for a full year, right? Academic year, and what you gained from that experience. And obviously I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how did it make you better? You know, what did it give you? And make sure that you put that in the application. These are not just words we don't read. We look through every single application. So write it well and be concise and make sure that it gives a good picture of who you are.
Sorry, can I ask a quick question?
Sure. I don't know who was talking other than Hovannes. Can you say that again?
Okay, can I ask a quick question?
Sure, Sylvia, go ahead.
So if I participated Flex this year, but I don't know what's the result, I should put it until now or the end date? I don't know the end date, so I should put until now, or I shouldn't write it as a program?
If you mean, so applying to Flex doesn't mean that you're a Flex participant. So participating in the Flex competition is very different than actually being a Flex awardee that's going to go and spend time on the program.
Okay.
So you can mention that, for example, that you've participated in the Flex competition and you've come this far, in which case you can put an end date, but that you still don't know your status.
Okay.
All right.
May I ask a question?
Suran, yes, go ahead.
Yes. So if if I have different application blogs, for example, or different Telegram chats, may I use them as academic credential, not academic credentials, like off-school projects, and include them in previous slides blanks?
I don't think
like
I understand the question. Say that again.
Like I have different blogs of my. About my applications and exams. Should I put them in the blank of the previous slide?
So academic credentials really doesn't have to do with blogs.
No. Yes, I missed that. Yeah.
Okay, so just wait until the extracurriculars. Guys, why don't we?
Can I also ask a question?
Sure. This is the last question, and then let me get through so that those who want to do the student meet and greet can go to that session. So, Gaina, last question, and then I'm gonna sort of go forward. Go ahead. Gaina,
I must only include only the occasions which passed during. Okay, I will text.
Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Hello?
Try it now.
Yeah, I was asking we must only include the occasions which passed during those 4 years.
Okay, so wait, you guys are, so right now we're talking about the academic credentials. Give me 1 second to get to the extracurriculars, but yes, all of this is also for the past 4 years, okay? So here, again, the questions that you guys are asking, the answers are in. So if I'm going back to the same slide, it says list all special academic programs you have attended during the last 4 years, okay? So the answer is in the instructions. Okay, all right, quickly moving on. So Ina, this is an important slide for you. Many of you, or most of you, are about to graduate high school, but some of you already have college level credit. And so you might be interested in the possibility of being able to transfer in some of the credits. Now, if you have a degree, then the possibility of actually being able to transfer in credits, it's a little bit less just because you've received a degree for those credits already. But if you've taken, you know, you're more than welcome to try to put in information. So here you would have to mark, yes, I'm interested in submitting a transfer application. for us to actually process this request with the Office of the Registrar. You first have to get admitted. If you're admitted, then we would review your application for possibility of transferring in credits. This also includes things for, IB credits, advanced placement exams, GCSEs, the Arati and Baccalaureate. So please look at this. Please look at the instructions and make sure to fill this section out. This year, we just received a request from the registrar's office saying, Arina Zarabian is asking to transfer in this credit. And then we looked at the file. Obviously, this is not me. I'm just coming up with my name as an example. We looked at this person's file and saw that she had not indicated that she wanted to transfer, which means that she was not able to bring in that credit. Okay, so if there's anything you hope to transfer in, it has to be listed here.
Make sure you also attach your course syllabi.
Yeah, so make sure to attach the course syllabi, which is listed in the instructions. So again, following instructions, very important.
Thank you.
More information about the transfer process is on this website, admissions.aua.am/transfer. Language proficiency, do not get lazy. You guys are Armenians, most of you, yes? You speak at least 3 languages. So I want to see all of those 3 languages. A lot of people, for some reason or other, only put in English. Again, that shows that you're kisat barat. You're not taking the application very seriously. So you're putting in all of your applications. Entrance exams, this is where you are going to be indicating information about when you have taken or are planning to take entrance exams. Planning to take entrance exams, the only thing is about the internal assessments. We've actually told you what to fill in as the test dates. Otherwise, you will not be able to submit that application. So again, make sure to read this part very, very carefully. All right. Patil, any comments on this? I think we get a lot of issues with the entrance exams. You guys also, for whatever reason, are nervous to put in all of the tests you've taken. If you've taken more than test, feel free to write it. We're always looking at the highest score. Okay, but make sure that you're sending us the official scores through the College Board, through ETS, through British Council, or through the ACT. Otherwise, your self-reported score is not valid until we receive it officially from the testing body.
And can I ask a question?
I have a question.
Yeah, okay, hold it, go ahead. So Grigor, go first.
So I submitted my application 2 days ago, but my IELTS score was just sent yesterday. And Patil sent me an email that my application was incomplete because of the admissions haven't received my IELTS score yet. I went to British Council, asked them to send it one more time. And now I'm waiting for an email from you admissions because they told me that my scores have been sent to admissions for the 2nd time. And how long should I wait for that?
Yeah, we're just waiting for the system to reflect the grade, as I mentioned in the email. So when we get the score, we need to download the score so that it reflects on our system. It takes time to reflect on the system. So that's why we're waiting.
Because in British Council, I was told that the problem can be from you because they have sent it already for a week ago. The problem can become from your program, from you.
Yeah, like I said in the email, we're just waiting for the system to reflect your grade so that once we see it on the system, we'll update your status. That's it. I'm just waiting for it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah. And okay, a very important point. Let's say, so Grigor not only today pointed out that we made a mistake with the red asterisk on the first name, but is also saying that it's our problem if we don't have his score. Grigor, I'm loving you. I really am. An important thing, if the actual testing administrator has sent your test score and there's a technical glitch in our system, even if you miss that deadline, we will be very flexible. So that will not result in moving your deadline if there's a technical issue on our end that is resulting in our not being able to download your score report. We have had a couple of issues. There have actually even been issues when, for whatever reason, there's been a technical issue with your test. You haven't been able to get a score. And then we work with our undergraduate admissions committee to try to figure out how we can sort of help make sure that you don't get moved to another deadline. So just keep in contact with us. All right.
I'm sorry, I have a question. Sorry.
Okay, time out. Dachan, anyone who wants to leave to do the student meet and greet, or can we push that back for another 15 minutes?
I will need to ask them.
Is there, I mean, yeah, tell them that, let me try to do this in 15 minutes. Do I have any parents here or no? Okay. Sophia, go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask if I don't have SAT score and I want to apply for December. What should I do? Which math exam I have to take?
I keep getting this question a lot too. I don't know why.
Okay, guys, let's all read this out loud together. Ready? So to meet math proficiency, you have three alternatives. You have, what is it? You have the math. So I don't have that documented here. It's on a different thing. You have math, which is through the SAT, the ACT, or the internal assessment. Now, if you're actually in the application, again, this is just one section that you'll see in the application, but for the internal assessment, you would have to select the AUA internal assessment for math and select the test date that we've indicated in the application, okay? Mm-hmm. And in terms of scheduling, we'll let you know, okay? We'll contact you because it'll be part of the extended admissions interview.
Okay.
Excuse me, I have a question as well.
Sure, Lily, go ahead.
How can I know if AUA has got my scores, has received my official scores of my tests?
Email eam.ugrad@aua.am or write us on Facebook, AUA Admissions.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm. And another question about interview. Is there any difference I am applying with interview or SAT scores if I apply for data science?
Yeah, so when we first launched fall 2021 admissions, we actually said those that would be taking the SAT or ACT would be given preference. But we changed that because there were such major issues with seat capacity. So we will equally look at people who have taken the SAT, ACT, or the internal assessment, okay? So there's not going to be given any preference for those who were ultimately able to take those exams.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, next is the extracurricular.
Can I ask a question too?
Yeah, Edgar, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Does the American University accept the TOEFL my best score?
No, we do not. That's a great question, and no, we do not. We've raised that with the admissions committee in the past. We are looking at the highest score. We are not combining scores from various exams into a different score. So no. And that's the same thing for the SAT. We do not look at super scores. Okay, so the next thing is about extracurricular and volunteer activities. Again, a very important section. That's not to say if you don't do it, you have no chance of getting admitted, but this is painting an interesting picture of who you are, right? So you're not just what you're doing in school, you have other interests and things like that. So again, within the instructions, it's asking for you to indicate things within the past 4 years. It's asking you to provide us with detailed descriptions. And again, specify your specific involvement and what you gained from that experience. If you do not have documented proof, we still ask that you put in those activities, okay? Even if you don't have a derek anki, it's okay, put them in.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Sylvia, go ahead.
If it's extracurricular activity, can being the president of student body is it extracurricular activity or not?
Is being president of your student council?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Is that demanded by your school or is that something extra?
It's extra.
There you go.
It's extra.
Right? It's not part of a school requirement. It's something that you do outside. Guys, a lot of these things, if you use common sense and logic, you're going to get the answers. I don't want you to stress out about it. So yes, student council, of course, being part of it is not mandatory. It's not required by the school. So if you're doing it, then that is part of, something that you would list.
Okay.
Just a quick thing. You have 10 more minutes. The student council agreed to postpone the meeting.
I love my student council. They're not mine, but I love AUA student council. Thank you, Hanlari. And I want to give just one more quick statement. So there have, someone wrote that they were taking music classes in the extracurricular activity section. And it's hilarious because Aram, who is a student I know very well. When he was applying, he was also a professional musician. But imagine you are also a professional musician and you say, I've been taking music classes for the past 10 years, but you don't actually mention any sort of instrument, right? These are the types of mistakes that we're getting a lot. Yeah. Patil is laughing. It's not funny. It kills us. How can you tell us that you've taken music classes, but forget to mention that it's the flute or the violin or the piano? Detailed descriptions. Hovannes is laughing too.
Avoid making typos. Please make sure you double check your spelling and grammar. Like put it in Grammarly, because it's not a good impression for the committee if they see that you're not paying close attention, you're not detail oriented. So just make sure you're double checking your spelling and grammar as well.
And can I ask a question about
sports or like mountaineering or hiking is also included in like this extracurricular?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, guys, can you see my application here? I'm not actually applying to AUA. Don't worry, you're not competing against me, but I want to.
I have a question about certificates, which I should include in the previous slide. If I have some certificates from different Olympiadas or different competitions, so should I write a lot of things about it?
I have up to 50 words to write about each activity that you've done. So yes, technically, I mean, you can talk about it, but just bear in mind that you have a word limit.
So Olympiads and school-connected awards are.
Yes, Olympiads can also be considered.
Are they with academic programs or extracurriculars?
Olympiads, would they be academic, Arin?
They could, I mean, it really depends. If you've just gone in to take the test, I mean, they're more academic, but we have people listing them in both places. Again, it's not a big deal if you make a mistake, but if it's related to academics, put it in academics. If it's extracurricular outside of school, outside of academics, put it here. Now, when Patil said avoid mistakes, this is why it's also really funny. This is an actual application. This is my test application. And I, of course, I'm a Chinese language genius. Unfortunately, I'm not. I wish I were. I won the prize. I can't spell. Why do I submit applications like this? Do you see the red squiggly lines? The red squiggly line tells you that you're making a spelling mistake. So when you submit an application with the red squiggly lines, it's again not making a very good impression of who you are. So again, a very, very important point.
Because the other day I saw a typo. That's why I just remembered to mention it.
I'm really sorry, but
guys, let me not take any more questions. Let me run through because I want to make sure you have the ability to do student meet and greet. But keep in mind, we're going to do this session again a number of times throughout the next few months. So you can join me then and we'll schedule more than 30 minutes. I forget that I talk too much. Okay, so what do I have? Essays, Mimi Zarukyan talked about that, but again, make sure you're answering all of the questions in the prompts, right? There's more than one actual question in each prompt. Make sure you're not plagiarizing. They are checked. Make sure that you're not making spelling and grammar mistakes, and make sure that you are adhering to sort of the recommendations and suggestions that you received today earlier with Mimi's session. For transcripts, this is a major issue. Since you are currently, most of you in 12th grade, we do want your your in-progress grades for grade 12. All of the schools provide it. So that is something that you should be able to receive, okay? And then, under the attachment section, I think someone had a question. This is where we're telling you what you need to attach to your application. Read it pretty carefully. The photo, oh my God, please do not get so creative with your photos. Take a passport photo that actually adheres to the instructions. It should be a color. It should be taken in the past 6 months. I literally had someone send me a photo of when they were like 12 years old. They were.
It is written that the photo must be taken in the last 6 months.
Yeah, so 12 years old, and unless they're applying at the age of 12 and a half, that is not a photo that we're yes, Aram, that was my reaction. I was literally crying. It should have a white background. I don't want you to have like, you know, I don't want you to do a Ganox to me. We've had that a few times in the photo. I don't want the AUA teddy if you've somehow gotten it. It's a professional passport type photo. If you're admitted, that is what will be used for your student ID card, okay? Mistakes, again, when you're doing your attachments, please make sure that you name them correctly and descriptively, because that really does help us. Make sure that you're filling out not only the type, but entering a description. Do not give us things, for example, my 3rd grade certificate of excellency. So someone asked about Govasan Agirs. Yes, you're more than able to, you know, you can put them in under, you know, either the academics or extracurriculars, probably in this case, extracurriculars, because we talk about awards also being listed there. But if, you know, if you were a great student in 3rd grade, I mean, your parents care, but we don't. I mean, I'm sorry we don't care, but
and can I say something? And this is like a true story, guys. We had an applicant and I was doing the technical eligibility for him or for her, I don't remember it now. And he or she like attached all the Govasan years from 1st grade. So imagine me doing like opening all the Govasan years. So please don't do this.
I love the parents of that child who kept all of those Govasan years, because I'm not one of those cool parents, but yes, we don't need them, okay?
But excuse me, if it's for the 8th grade, do we have to attach it?
Was it more than 4 years ago?
I think no.
So if it was not more than, so if it's within the past 4 years, you're more than welcome to include it. If it was more than 4 years ago, right? So 4 years, that's the magic number. If it was more than 4 years ago, I don't want it. If it was less than 4 years ago, I want it, okay?
But it is written that 4 years, it's about only volunteering jobs. It's not, I haven't read about certificates. For example, I have an Oxford and Cambridge certificate during the from the 5th grade. I attached them, but I haven't read that they shouldn't be attached.
All right, Grigor is trying to prove me wrong again. Grigor, is that hard to hold on. Okay, where are we? So where did you list that? Under your special academics?
No, extracurricular and activities, other activities, volunteering.
Okay, so you put it under extracurriculars.
Yes, here.
Okay,
I'm sorry, but here is written that our description should include up to 50 words, but in application it is mentioned that we must include up to 100 words.
We had, okay, so that's a good catch. We had a few people complain to us that they needed more space, so we let it, but keep it at 50 words. Okay, look, wait, Grigor. Read this.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Read that for me.
Participated in during the past 4 years. Okay.
What section is that?
Extracurricular and volunteer activities.
Okay. You're still leading by 1, but yes. So anything that is more than 4 years ago, please remove that. Okay, we don't need it.
Alina Jan, here is a question in the chat as well.
Guys, let me quickly run through this because again, the student meet and greet is very important for you. Okay, and then for anyone who doesn't want to do the student meet and greet, can wait and I can answer more questions, but I want to get you all out and I have 2 minutes to do it and I still have like 10 slides. Okay, photos we talked about, attachments we talked about. You need to press this button after you mark this little box. That will allow you to submit your application. Once you submit it, you cannot change it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You will then need to pay your application fee. You do that here. We have a lot of issues with people, doing their application fee. They open the browser to make the online payment and then they decide that they need to go eat. And then 45 minutes later, they come back and there's an error. So once you go in to make the payment, you have to do it immediately. Otherwise, an error is going to, an error will result and then you're going to stress out because there will be a technical issue. Okay, so
and that's done for your own safety. The bank is like blocking it because you keep it unattended and that's why it is being closed.
Okay, couple of quick examples. We don't have time to go over this, so we'll do that next time. But one really funny thing that I do, I used this example last year. Be very careful with Google Translate. We actually read someone submit this, in one of their descriptions.
I remember this one.
Being an empathetic person, I feel I need to help people around me. So this summer I decided to join the staff of the NGO to bring joy to the lives of the people suffering from mental disorders. So far, so good. I enjoyed greatly by spending my time with these creatures. awful, disaster. I need to try to figure out who this was and if they ultimately got admitted. Okay, so check your email for updates often and respond to those. It is your responsibility to give us a complete application. And if you fail to do so, ultimately it's going to be an issue for you, not for us, right? Because you might either get moved or you might ultimately become ineligible or denied. So your responsibility. There's a lot of intermedia, there's a lot of hand-holding by parents. A lot of your parents are calling us, asking questions. You guys should be taking the initiative, right? This is your application, this is your future. And we've given you guys, we're here to support you. So take advantage of that support, but keeping in mind that a lot of the information you need is on the instructions or in the website. Okay, I'm stopping here. Dachan, you can stop the recording.